Hey, all right. Look, I'll be going over another verse later, but for now, something's come to my attention that I need to put out there, and this is for all my fellow workers and everybody in the world, basically. Look, anywhere, any company or business that is forcing you to wear a respirator of any type, okay, are actually putting your life in danger. Look, I understand if you're sick, if you're coughing, if you're sneezing. I mean, it's a good idea to put one on temporarily when you go out into the public domain, and that should be at any time. I mean, really. I mean, it's just, it's just being a decent human being. All right, but under OSHA, federal and state, both, states cannot go underneath federal guidelines, have anything lesser, but they can improve upon, right, states. So in the federal OSHA, under respirator requirements, look, it can only be for a set time, and you have to undergo a medical evaluation to see if you're even fit. Look, wearing a respirator, even these N95 masks, or even the little blue masks that they give us at my company, it restricts the intake of oxygen. It's oxygen deprivation is what it is. And that's not supposed to dip below 19.5 parts per million. And by wearing any type of restriction, even putting a Kleenex over your mouth and nose, cuts it down like between 14 to 16. Okay, so it's only to be worn for a very limited time to do your scope of work in whatever area you're doing, or whatever things you're exposed to in the air that you're breathing. But it's never made for long-term wear. It deprives your body of oxygen. Your blood needs oxygen to purify itself, to help clean, to build the white blood cell count. Your brain needs oxygen to function properly. Look, they can't do this. It's illegal. It's not backed up by scientific data. It's not backed up by empirical data at all whatsoever. But there is data out there. There's a lot of data out there that says the opposite. Otherwise, this restriction of breathing in oxygenated air deprives your body of what it needs to function properly. Your body, your brain, everything in your body. It makes a healthy person sicker. It'll make you worse. And the longer you do it, the worse it's going to be for your physical health. The information's out there. Look, it's 1910 Occupational Safety and Health Standards, right? Personal protective equipment, respiratory protection. Okay, it's all outlined here, and I'm not going to go through all these pages, but I'll hit a couple highlights, because you need to be aware. In any store that forces you to wear a respirator of any type when you walk in, they are required by law to have a medical examiner there at their expense to examine you, to make sure you're fit to be oxygen deprived. And not only that, not only are you oxygen deprived, it cuts below the 19.5 parts per million requirement to maintain a healthy condition of your body. Not only does it restrict that, but you're breathing out carbon dioxide. So you're in by wearing a respirator, naturally you're breathing in more carbon dioxide by wearing a respirator. Okay, so which brings that level above the allotted parts per million of carbon dioxide intake. So this destroys your health. A lot of people that I'm aware of are getting headaches. They're getting raspy voices. This causes a whole plethora of medical conditions. And if you already have a respiratory ailment, like asthma or depleted lung function of any type in any way, or different sinus issues, deviated something, whatever it is. It can even elevate your risk exponentially, okay? Cause you to pass out, cause you to lose consciousness, it can cause just a whole slew of problems, right? So what they're telling us is a tyrannical order from your legislatures or your governors of your state, right? Tyrannical meaning they do not have the legal authority to do this. They do not have the evidence, the scientific data to back up this order. They don't have the legal authority to do so, but they're trying to impose this on the people. It's going to make things worse, not better. Worse. And any store, any company that forces you, requires you to wear a respirator to enter or to maintain employment, they have to follow a whole slew of federal regulations and state regulations by the Occupational Safety and Health Act. Okay, that's OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Act. They are in violation of a whole multitude of statutes within this federal and state. And see, the data, this is based on data, right? To keep you healthy and to keep you safe. For them to arbitrarily come out and say everybody has to wear a mask. It's not based on any factual evidence or data that's supported in any way whatsoever. They're doing it to just scare you, and it actually makes things worse for you physically. It'll make you sick. It'll cause, like I said, it can cause dizziness. It can cause a whole bunch of things. Your blood's not being oxygenated the way it's supposed to. Your brain's not getting the oxygen it needs to function properly. There's just so many things. So you need to look into this big time. Medical evaluations, right? And in this statute, 1910 from the OSHA respiratory guidelines. Okay, using a respirator may be placed. A respirator may place a psychological burden on employees that varies with the type of respirator that's worn, the job and workplace conditions in which the respirator is used, and the medical status of the employee. Accordingly, this paragraph specifies the minimum requirements for medical evaluations that employers must implement to determine the employee's ability, their medical condition, right, to even use a respirator. And the corporation, the business, the company that you work for, they're required to supply that medical examination. Okay, so understand this. Understand this. The employer shall provide a medical examination to determine the employee's ability to use a respirator before the employee is fit tested, whether no matter what type of respirator that is, okay, or required to use the respirator in the workplace. The employer may discontinue an employee's medical evaluations when the employee is no longer required to wear the respirator. Okay, so look, I could go on and on and on. There's too much to go over here. Bottom line, your employer or any corporation, any company, any store, any bank, anyone that is requiring you to wear a respirator are in violation of multiple Safety and Health Act regulations that are supported by empirical data, that are supported by scientific data. They're in violation of it, and you're supposed to be medically examined at their expense, right? This is really can affect the elderly in some very adverse, negative ways, and anybody who has any type of respiratory ailment or condition, asthma or whatever the condition is, sinuses, sinusitis, or what people, allergies, people that have allergies, anything. I mean, this can affect people adversely. It's only going to do more damage. It's not good. It's not a good thing, and they're in violation of the law, of the acts, the regulations, federal and state regulations. So we're being fed a line of BS. Wake up, people. Wake up. Understand what's going on here. This is all It's not for our benefit. It's not for our benefit. What does the Bible say? My people perish for lack of knowledge. My people perish for lack of knowledge. Dig into this on your own. Get out there. Print these things out. I printed this out. I'm going to make multiple copies. I'm going to pass it around my workplace. I'm going to give it to my HR and labor department. I'm going to give it to my supervisors and their supervisors. Look, this is bogus. It's bogus. There's no data to support it. None. For a healthy person to be wearing a respirator. And I understand you can be a carrier and blah, 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 blah. You know what? The CDC's own numbers from the CDC so far, less people have succumbed to this virus this year than they did from last year's flu. Look, but the media is not going to tell you that. They're going to keep pushing the narrative. Look, I'm not going to get into the spiritual aspect of this, but anybody who watches my channel, they know what's going on here. Okay, this is a takeover. This is a coup of taking over this government, not just this government, governments all around the world, bringing into anyway, I'm not going to get into that right here in this video, but be aware. Look up the OSHA guidelines for respirators in your city. And what I'm going by, what I just looked up, are federal and state regulations can't be below the federal related regulations. They have to be even held to a higher standard, if anything. Okay, they can't be less than. So understand that. So this is for our edification and knowledge. Get out there, spread the word, share this video. It's based on nothing. No empirical evidence whatsoever. But the OSHA regulations are. They are. So what they're doing to us is causing us harm. They're actually causing us harm by making us wear respirators throughout an entire day. It was meant to be only for a specified period, short periods of time in a dangerous work environment where the air and the atmosphere is not correct. You know, that's what respirators are to be worn for. Not just in case. Just in case you might be a carrier of some flu that so far isn't even as bad as last year's flu. All right, so there's that. Anyways, love you, love and respect everybody. God bless. Have a great day. Bye.